You have smiled at someone who thought you were lying. You have seen someone smile and felt something go cold. We treat the smile as one expression every human shares. It is not. The smile is a word, and the same word means different things in different languages. Now watch. Americans drew their smiley face around the mouth. The Japanese drew theirs around the eyes. Same feeling, a different part of the face does the work. The difference isn't an accident. It's really a map of how an entire culture decides what a smile is for. Today, we read that map in 4 places: Thailand, Russia, the United States, and Japan. And by the end, you will know which smile you have been getting wrong, because everyone watching has misread at least one. This channel is about what happens when 2 ways of being human meet and try to build something together, and almost nothing trips it up faster than a smile, because we think it needs no translation, but it does. Let's start in Japan. In 1894, a writer named Lafcadio Hearn published an essay called The Japanese Smile. He had moved to Japan and married into a Japanese family, and one thing kept unsettling him. People smiled at moments he thought called for grief. He recorded one story involving a woman's nurse coming to her and smiling as if something good had happened. She said her husband had died and asked for leave to attend the funeral. Now, to a Westerner, that smile read as cold. Hearn came to believe it was the opposite. It was politeness taken to its furthest point, a refusal to hand your sorrow to someone else to carry. More than a century later, a Japanese researcher named Masaki Yuki put numbers to what Hearn felt. Yuki noticed something as a kid. American celebrities in photos smiled in a way that looked strange to him. Mouths wide open, corners pulled hard. So he ran a study at Hokkaido University. He showed Japanese and American students faces where the eyes and the mouth disagreed. Happy mouth, sad eyes. Sad mouth, happy eyes. The Americans read the mouth. The Japanese read the eyes. Here's why that matters. In a culture that values holding strong feeling in, the mouth can be arranged. You could put a smile on it. The eyes are harder to fake. So if you grew up reading eyes, an American smile can look like a person shouting with the wrong half of their face. And if you grew up reading mouth, a Japanese smile over pain can look like nothing at all. Now, let's head over to Thailand. You've heard the nickname, Land of Smiles. It came from tourism campaigns, and it's the kind of phrase that hides more than it tells. Because in Thailand, the smile is not one thing with one meaning. It's closer to a vocabulary. A guide written for foreigners working in Thailand by Henry Holmes and Suchato Tangtungtevi catalogs 13 different smiles, each with its own name and its own job. There is the polite smile for someone you barely know. There is the smile that means I disagree with you, but I won't say it out loud. There is the dry smile that means I know I owe you money and I don't have it. There's the smile you give when you are trying to smile and can't because something hurts. And here's the part that surprises people. Many of those 13 are not happy smiles at all. They are smiles for disagreement, smiles for debt, for grief, smiles for trying not to lose face. Some travelers have described being smiled at right after delivering bad news or after an accident and reading it as careless. It's not careless. It runs through an idea Thais call jai jian, a cool heart. The smile is how you keep a hard moment from turning into a worse one. It protects the room and it buys everyone time to save face. To a visitor trained to believe a smile equals happy, all of this reads as one warm blur. But it's not a blur. It's a language with 13 words, and the tourist knows only one, which brings me to my home. So the American smile. We have to be careful here because if you grew up American, this is the smile that feels like no culture at all. Feels like just being friendly, but it's not. It's one of the most engineered smiles on earth. In 1983, a sociologist named Arlie Hochschild published a book called The Managed Heart. She studied flight attendants, and she found that the smile was not a side effect of the job. It was the job. Trainees were told to smile like they meant it, to treat strangers on a plane like guests in their own living room. Hochschild gave this a name, emotional labor, the work of producing a feeling you may not have because someone is paying for it. She wrote that the flight attendant's smile stops being her smile, it becomes the company's. The American service smile is real warmth sometimes, and it's also a uniform, both at once. And that is why an American can smile at a stranger in a checkout line and mean almost nothing by it, and mean no harm by it either. It's a greeting, it's being polite. But carry that same smile into a culture that doesn't run on it, and it could read as fake, or worse, as working an angle, which is exactly what happens in Russia. There's a Russian saying, laughter for no reason is a sign of a fool. A linguist named Losif Sternin spent years documenting how the Russian smile works, and the rules are almost the mirror image of the American ones. In Russia, a smile is not a greeting. It's not politeness. It's not something you hand to a stranger to be pleasant. Smile is supposed to mean something. It needs a reason, and the reason should be clear to everyone in the room. So the constant American smile, the one we are proud of, reads to many Russians as a bit strange. A smile worn for no reason seems insincere. There's even a phrase for the professional customer service smile, the duty smile, and it's not a compliment. Now, hold both of these in your head at once. An American walks down a street in Moscow and reads still and smiling faces as cold or unhappy or unfriendly. And a Russian walks down a street in America and reads all that smiling as fake. Both of them are wrong. And both of them are using rules that make perfect sense at home. Now, here's the thing that ties all four smiles together. None of these people are misreading faces because they are bad at reading faces. They're reading a foreign word using the dictionary they grew up with. There's research on this. A psychologist named Kuba Kris ran a study across more than 40 countries. He found that in some places, a smiling person is trusted less, not more, rated as less honest, sometimes even as less intelligent. And it tracked with something specific, how predictable and how fair your society has felt over time. If you come from a place where the future is uncertain, a stranger beaming at you is not obviously safe. It could read as someone who knows something you don't. The smile didn't change, the world around it did. And that's the whole point. A smile's not data. It's a sentence in a language, and you're always reading it with an accent. I'm American, and I grew up with the checkout line smile, and I carried it overseas like it was free and universal, and it wasn't. I spent years learning that a smile I trusted did not mean what I thought, and that a still face I read as cold was just someone waiting for an actual, real, honest reason to smile. That is most of what this work is. Not memorizing 13 Thai smiles or learning to read Russian eyes. It's the smaller, harder thing. Remembering that the person across from you learned a different first language for the face, and that yours is not the neutral one. None of us has the neutral one. So the next time someone's smile reads wrong to you, pause for a moment and ask which language it's written in. You might be reading a word that means something you haven't learned yet. I am John, this is Crossbuilt, and if this made you think of someone, maybe a partner, a coworker, a friend whose smile you have misread, send it to them and tell me in the comments. Which smile have you been getting wrong?